and welcome to the Seated Podcast with Furniture Row. I'm Jessa, creative director and design extraordinaire.
And I'm Barb, interior designer and buyer.
Hello, everyone, and
Hi.
welcome. Welcome back. Today, we're talking about lighting.
So important. You have to have the lights on. You got to see someone that you're talking to. You need it to do things. You know, if you're cutting up snacks in the kitchen, you can't do that without a light.
But I think it's one of those things that we underestimate as being important and confusing. It's both confusing and important. And we need to know which lights to choose for which space and how to choose them and not spend so much time researching and being in the hardware store.
Agreed.
It's confusing.
It is confusing.
And especially if you're setting up a new space in your house, whether you're renting or you're remodeling a home, like that last little detail is like, oh, I am confused and it's difficult. So let's get into it. I have a little in or out question session for you about lighting to get us warmed up. I think, it's going to be fun. So in or out, Barb, Edison bulbs.
Out.
Ooh, controversial.
Just my opinion.
Track lighting.
It depends, but in a home, I'm going to say out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bank lights.
It depends on what the use is for.
Okay.
Could work.
Colored lighting.
Like on a Christmas tree?
Anywhere.
I mean, if it's like holiday lighting, I like the colored lights.
What if
like
it's
little gumdrops?
all around year lighting, colored lighting?
You know what? Maybe it works for the dopamine decor that we were talking about.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say it's out or in.
Yeah. It's very, you have to be specific with it.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Well, it's a huge decor factor, lighting. And I mean, some people don't know why they're in a bad mood in their space. And a lot of times I do think it's attributed to the lighting. Like if you have an obnoxious big light in your room and it is just taking over the vibe, like it's too cool or it's too warm and it's ugly and it's offensive, you know, you gotta.
It could affect your mood, maybe even give you a headache.
Like think about fluorescent lighting. I am not a fan of the big lights. I feel the vibe of every light and I am just, the big lights sometimes, if they are not done tastefully, it ruins the vibe of a room completely.
It does. Now, I know what you mean by big light, but maybe our audience doesn't. So explain to them what your definition of big light is.
Yeah, it's like the overall lighting in the room when you just like turn on the switch the first time and you haven't set anything up in the room, whether it's lamps or what have you, and it's just whatever light is included in the house.
Oh, the overhead light.
The overhead light.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's done tastefully between the type of overhead light that is chosen and the temperature. But other times it's not. And people just slap whatever fixtures up there with whatever color tone and your house just looks like a cold prison, you know, or a warm, old, musty dungeon. I don't know.
You have feelings towards this, don't you?
It ruins, it sucks the life out.
It really does. And especially like at night when just I call them the ugly lights.
The ugly lights?
Yeah. You walk in the room, turn on the switch and it's just this ugly light.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate it at
night. It's like jarring and offensive.
Yeah,
and
totally.
Especially the biggest faux pas for me with the big light is if it's on during the day, especially when it's not needed. Like if you are in the kitchen and it is daytime and there's beautiful natural light streaming in through the windows and either your curtains are closed or they're open, but you have the big light on. No.
See, now Big light, ugly light. Okay. So I'm talking ugly light.
Ugly light. Okay.
Yes. But like if it's my chandelier in my dining room or in my breakfast nook, I'm fine turning that on. I like the look of that, but not always. I don't always have to turn that on, but I don't have a problem with it being on.
But if you have a really pretty chandelier that disperses the light well, and it's like you chose the right bulb, so it matches the tone of the room, whether it's day or night, I could get behind that, or a tasteful pendant lighting in a kitchen or tasteful recess lighting, the can lights, I can be a huge fan of.
Yeah. Yeah. The ugly light, no.
No, it ruins serenity.
Yeah, I agree.
The ugly light is not good. The ugly big light, it ruins the party. It's a party pooper is what it is. But so we should talk about, we're not just here to complain. We're here to offer solutions. And what is the solution to the big light?
To take it down. Just remove it.
Take down the ugly light.
Just
so
take
it's
it
never
out.
in danger of ruining your space again. But also layered lighting. You can replace it with layered lighting.
Yeah. You could do a little task light. You can do the accent light, and that helps too. Yeah.
So let's break it down. Like, what goes into layered lighting? What is layered lighting?
So like your ambient lighting, like your chandelier, your can lights, that would be your first layer. And then your task lighting. So lights that would be under your kitchen cabinets. Okay. So it's nice. So like if you're preparing food in the kitchen, you can turn those on. Or if you just need a little light at night and you don't want to turn the bigger lights on, they're still nice lights, but bigger lights. You just turn those on. And then your accent lights. So those are things for artwork. Like you were saying about your dad, like his little uplight for his plant, anything that enhances an architectural element.
Yeah.
So
in the room.
That's some layered lighting for you.
Yeah. My dad has an olive tree, or I think he still has it, but growing up he had an olive tree too. And it was in the corner of our living room, and it had the uplight on it to really just enhance the Tuscan vibe in there.
Yeah.
And really highlight the plant in that room, which can be done. We've already talked about that in our outdoor episode about putting uplight against elements in your yard or plants in your yard. So you could do the same thing indoors.
Yeah. I like that idea that your dad did, because at night, I bet it, had a little shadowing and dapple lighting on the wall, which is so nice at night.
It was very, just a great mood in there.
Yeah.
It was a very relaxing, living room mood. He's a Taurus, so he's all about how things look and the beauty of things in life.
That's probably where you get your design
maybe so
background from.
Maybe so. Yeah, just my dad's commitment to the vibe always. So
very nice.
Enjoying the beauty of life. So yeah, I mean, aside from mixing those layers of light in your room, just having a mixture of ambient, task lighting, and accent lighting, you got to choose the right bulbs. And that is where life gets confusing.
It gets confusing for sure. And I feel like at one time there weren't as many choices out there. Right. And now there's everything. Plus, like a light bulb that is battery operated. Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
Where do we even start? I mean, okay, so there's the standard incandescents.
We start at Home Depot.
We start at Home Depot or the hardware store. Yeah. Sometimes you just got to go and acclimate yourself to what's out there. Yeah. So let's bring up that visual of actually the different types of light.
There you go.
Yeah. So we want to know all the different types of light that are out there. We have our traditional incandescents, which is what used to always be used. And then we started trying to get a little bit more energy efficient.
With the LED.
With the LEDs.
And those weren't quite right at first, I don't think.
Weren't. Yeah.
They're a lot better now.
They didn't have all the color options or the range, I feel like, and the aesthetics that an incandescent did. So, and they also, as an energy efficient alternative, developed halogen lighting, which was just like an enhanced version of incandescent to make it a little bit more energy efficient. and then a CFL, which is a compact fluorescent light.
Yes, I've broken many of those.
Yeah, so those were all a little bit more energy efficient alternatives, but I feel like most of what I see these days in stores is LEDs now, because they're just so like
they're everywhere,
tuned in and energy efficient. It's hard to find an incandescent anymore, in my opinion, or at least that's what my landlord said. So anyway.
I would agree with that, unless maybe you go to some sort of lighting store that has a million light bulb options.
Right. Yeah. So, but within, any of those lighting options, there's some things to pay attention to between brightness and temperature. So let's start with temperature. In a lot of hardware stores now, they'll have helpful guides. Like I was just at Home Depot the other day, and in this video you can see they have a little switch that you can go back and forth to see what different levels of Kelvins look like and how it changes the warmness and coolness. So Kelvins
are really helpful.
Yeah,
too.
It totally is, because nobody who's Kelvin, we don't know. So yeah, I think it's important to understand just generally what a Kelvin is. It's basically the warmness of the light bulb and
the temperature,
of the light bulb. And as far as visual temperature, not like how hot it actually gets.
Right, exactly.
But the lower the number, the warmer toned the light is going to be, is all you have to remember. And just middle of the line is going to be around 3,000, 4,000. But lower, really warm tone is going to be around 2,000 or so. And then candlelight is 1,000. So
I like your little thermometer.
Yeah.
There. That was great.
Yeah. I thought it would be helpful. It was fun to design. It was like a popsicle.
Yeah. It looks like one.
Yeah. So yeah, you got to consider what kind of warmness or coolness you want in every room, maybe,
depending on which room you're selecting light bulbs or lamps for.
In our recent productivity episode, we were talking about how cooler tone lights can be good for more productive spaces, while warmer toned lights can be good for more relaxing spaces. So
bedrooms and living rooms, where your brighter would be your kitchen or an office.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or your cooler. And then the other thing to consider is your amount of brightness that is being released.
Yeah.
And we just wanted to check ourselves to make sure that we were correct before. I said middle of the road for the coolness or warmness was around 3,000 or 4,000. And yeah, that's pretty neutral, leaning warm. 3,000, 3,500 is like a true white. Once you get to 4,000, you start to get a little cool.
So the 5,000, if you're, putting a lamp in a desk lamp for an office, I'd probably go 5,000. So higher.
That's
so it's
daylight
really
deluxe.
Yeah.
Or
so it's bright.
That's daylight. Yeah.
So it's nice and bright.
Yeah. Bright and cool and energizing. But then you'd want to kind of decorate the room to kind of complement that cool tone lighting so that there's enough in there so it doesn't feel cold in the room. Yeah. And then soft white is 2,700. Yeah. But so moving on from the temperature, getting into the amount of brightness that's being put off by the light bulb. Watts, I feel like we've seen a lot, especially with incandescents, to describe how bright a bulb is. But in truth, watts are the amount of energy a light puts out, whereas lumens are the brightness.
Yes.
And the reason why we leaned on watts so much to know the brightness in the past was because in incandescent bulbs, the amount of energy that's being put out really correlates to how bright it is, whereas that's not really true in LEDs. So like a middle of the road brightness in lumens would be 800, which would be your typical 60 watt bulb. But if you are working with an LED, you could have a 10 watt LED bulb because it's so energy efficient and it's putting out 800 to 1,000 lumens. So it can really, change things. And I have a little watts to lumens cheat sheet to kind of know, if you are looking at
this is a great little cheat sheet for everyone.
Yeah. If you're looking at a 75 watt bulb, it's going to put out about 1,100 lumens, But also, again, back to the hardware store, as part of that little display, they had a switch where you could switch between different wattages and see how it affected the brightness of the bulb.
Oh, wow.
To make sure that you were selecting the right bulb for what you wanted as far as brightness.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I gave an example on one of the light bulb packages I saw. See, that's an LED bulb that puts out 1,000 lumens, even though it's 10 watts. And Home Depot said both a 60 watt incandescent lamp and a 10 watt LED light produce about 800 lumens. So it's not necessarily about how much energy is being put out anymore. It's just you're looking for the brightness in lumens. Yeah. Especially with LEDs. And now with LEDs, there are so many different options out there. They're not just like we were saying, they're not just the old timey LED light. Like I picture LED light and it's really standard, but now they have really fancy Edison looking bulbs and just so many.
Is this Home Depot?
Yeah.
They do have a lot, huh?
So many bulb options out there that are really style driven. And for me, I know you said Edison bulbs are out, and I somewhat agree that like we don't want to go all industrial.
Sorry, Home Depot.
All the time. But there are so many lamps and standing lights and lighting options out there now that the bulb is either exposed or there's a glass shade on the lamp. And so you need to have an aesthetically pleasing bulb. And so that's where I go toward Edison's.
I agree with, there are a lot of light fixtures that show, I think one of our light fixtures just went out, but I'm not a big fan anymore of those glass fixtures where you're seeing the light bulb I'm not saying every light fixture, but the glass, because it's just, they get dirty and they're constant cleanup maintenance. Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of those. Mm-hmm. I used to like them. I used to like that style, but I think there's other things coming on board.
Yeah. And maybe it could just be done in a more artful way. Mm-hmm. I guess I like it because if you have lampshades, they can hold dust.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And I don't like dust.
No.
And if it's a glass lampshade, you can see if it's dusty and like clean it.
That's true.
Plus, okay, the other thing is you can get glass lampshades that have an amber tone to them. And I mean, some of the light bulbs we were seeing even in the Home Depot video, they were amber colored glass light bulbs. Which really affects the warmness of them and the type of light that they're putting off in the room.
Were those the LED bulbs that were Edison lamps?
Yeah. But
maybe that's why the glass was colored to look like an Edison bulb.
Yeah. It's a little vintage looking, but it also makes the color like just a little bit more warm and cozy in the room. But for my office, I got a standing lamp that has a glass shade, but it's amber colored. So it's warmer in there and it's not just like blaring light. It's like a softer.
The actual floor lamp fixture?
Yeah. The shade is amber colored glass.
Interesting.
And a black stand. So that really warms things up, especially during the day. Because sometimes if it gets cloudy, I don't want to like pretend like it's nighttime because it's still day, and I want to enjoy that it's day, but I just need a little extra light.
You don't want to trick yourself. And think
exactly.
It's nighttime.
I just need a little bit of accent light to the daylight. So yeah. But now that we kind of identified all of that lighting terminology, if anybody needs to go back to it, we have a great blog post that we will link in the show notes of this episode that really goes over some of these, you know, lumens and Kelvins and infographics that are easy to just reference quickly and puts everything into quick layman's terms, so you don't have to be
that's so helpful.
Scratching your head all day about lighting. So which rooms, in your opinion, should never have a cool light, and which rooms should never have a warm light?
That's a good question. I would say the kitchen should not be a warm light. That should be a little bit cooler, so it's a little brighter.
Like we're getting things done in here.
Yeah. Same with like an office. Just a little brighter in there. You know, and then as far as like a bedroom, living room, definitely a warmer light. So I would not do a cool light or lamp, light bulb. Some people call it a lamp. Some people call it a light bulb. I would not do cool in the bedroom or
you want to relax.
Living. Yeah. Or the dining room. I feel like the dining room needs to have just this nice cozy feel in it too.
Exactly.
Garage could be a cool light.
That's true.
Yeah.
Work's getting done in there too. Anywhere where work is getting done and we need to be like focused on details, cool lights, and especially like alertness. Like in the kitchen, you're working with knives.
Yeah.
You know, in the office, you're trying to be a good employee and not sleep.
Right.
You're trying to stay awake and alert.
That's right. So keep it cool in there.
Keep it cool. And,
you know, the one that is hard for me is the outside light. Like your front porch, or like sometimes neighbors have those motion sensor lights, and they're so bright.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I want to see stuff, but for everybody else, it's awful because the light like shines through your window. So I'd like to see some change happen with our exterior lighting. Like, how do we make that still bright enough where you can see what you're doing, but not so bright? It's like,
why is everybody just discounted exteriors lately as far as lighting? I feel like a lot of them are city lights, but even like private businesses, if there's like a floodlight to prevent people creeping around your building or whatever, they're just ugly.
It is ugly.
It is light pollution for the neighbors of those buildings. Like I have to have blackout curtains because the building next to our house has floodlights that are just so ugly. And I wish for times where there were those like gas lamps in the street, you know, can't we just go back to that?
That would be so nice. I know a lot of neighborhoods. There's one in Richmond that it's
in Virginia.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah. Richmond, Virginia, that it's all like gas lamps outside, like their exterior. World. Yeah. It's so pretty. Yeah. I love that look. You can buy light bulbs that feel or visually feel that way. It's not exact, but it gives you that look without. It's not exactly that look, but it helps.
You know what? If we were focused on city and world domination, Barb, we would be getting grants for cities to put everything in better lighting in their public fixtures. Yeah. That's what we would do. Maybe we should encourage people to write in and ask for better lighting. All you can do in life is ask, you know, let's ask our cities for better lighting.
I agree. And then like for neighborhoods, I mean, if you live in an HOA, which a lot of people do, I do, it's not my favorite thing to have an HOA, but if they're going to make rules, they should make rules about these floodlights.
Yes.
Like they should not be allowed to have these floodlights that flood into the neighbors. Like it's not good. It's not good. And then your whole house lights up at night, even through the shutters. Like it seems to come through the shutters and it's awful.
It is light pollution.
So if you all have floodlights, think about your neighbors.
We could be making an argument about wildlife and migration patterns and how the lights are ruining
that's true.
Migration patterns or something like that. Maybe that's how we get through to the city.
Well, I will tell you, talking about wildlife, my one neighbor I have two neighbors. They both have floodlights, so I don't even need floodlights.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't put them on my house anyway. But we do have these neighborhood raccoons. So my neighbor has this floodlight because the raccoons would get on the fence and like trops across the fence. And
suddenly it's like a raccoon show.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe those, and I haven't really seen those raccoons much lately. So maybe the floodlight like drove them away.
Scared them.
Yeah.
We don't get to see the raccoon show anymore.
I know. Let the raccoons live and be free.
Yeah. Well, sad thing about those raccoons. What would you? We digress, but what kind of
not diverse?
We diverse. I think we should diverse with our lighting.
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely.
What would you do? Like, okay, so let's break down each room and talk about like what kind of, because I think the idea of layered lighting is still a little bit intimidating for people.
Why do you think that is?
Because they don't know like what to put in every room and how expensive it's going to be, and like what is an example of like a good task light in a specific room. And let's just break it down for people.
Okay.
So it's less intimidating.
So I would first say to the people, if you have the big ugly light in your room, either take it down and put something else up there that looks better.
Take it down.
Yeah. But if you're not going to take it down and put something else that's nice, and that's the only light in your room, then we have to do some layered lighting.
Right.
Something.
But by ambient lighting, take it down and put something better. Like you could put a chandelier in place of whatever
on a
your
dimmer
landlord
switch.
Gave you on a dimmer switch.
Yes.
That's another great idea.
Yes. And that would immediately help the room look
because
better.
Then you can have brighter light for when you need it. Like if you're in your kitchen or your living room crafting and you need it brighter, you can have the lights be brighter. But if you want to just relax and watch a movie and get cozy,
turn it down.
Dim it down.
Yeah. I think the dimmer was the best. Other than the light bulb.
Other than sliced bread.
Other than all the other inventions out there. But one of the great inventions was the dimmer switch. I love a dimmer switch on everything. I put it, there's one in my kitchen. There's, they're everywhere in my house.
We should add dimmer switches to city lights.
To everything.
Yeah.
Everything looks better when you have a dimmer switch.
That was a design-focused invention. That's what that was.
Yeah.
Design for the people.
I know. And they're so simple. It's not a hard thing. You don't even have to go to too much trouble to put a dimmer switch on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so that's great. So if you can just at least tackle the ambient lighting in your space, like in a living room, for example, switch that overhead light that's just builder grade to a chandelier and pick out some light bulbs that really fit your vibe of that room.
Well, here's so everybody has different ceiling heights in their home.
Okay, yeah.
So let's say you do not have high ceilings in your living room or dining room, whatever. And you have that ugly light. It almost looks like it's screwed onto the ceiling. It just, it's a hideous light.
Yeah.
You could easily remove that and put, some sort of an uplight type of fixture.
Oh.
So the light's going up and out.
Okay.
Versus the ugly fixture.
That's going down. Okay.
Yeah. And that's good because if you don't have the ceiling height for a chandelier for a living room,
right?
That's 8 foot and under. I mean, you can put a chandelier in an 8 foot high ceiling. It just would, you have to determine the height of the chandelier and how high it's going to hang over, If you're walking under it, it can only hang down so low.
And there's ones that they're not super tall. Like they are pretty flush to the ceiling. But I think the reason why they're important in general is just because they disperse the light.
Yeah.
Well, so if you can find another solution besides like a chandelier that disperses the light well, go for it. Mm-hmm. And I like your solution of the uplighting that kind of disperses the light up and out instead of down.
Yeah. Or, we should have had a picture up here, which I guess we could add a picture of like what we're talking about as far as an ugly light goes. And then the solution, a simple, easy fix.
Yeah.
You know, that would help a lot more than the ugly light.
So then, okay, let's say we're in our living room. We figured out how to make our general light better, just our ambient light better. Whether it's fixing the builder grade light to be a little bit more of a style driven light. And now we need to get into some like additional layered lighting just to better the room. Yeah. Where would you start?
So, okay, depending on the room, but if we're talking living room, definitely, some lamps, some table lamps would help. Little accent lights if you have end tables. Yeah. Put a lamp on your end table. If you don't want to do matchy, you could do an end table with a lamp on it. You could still have another end table on the other side of your sofa. Yeah. And a floor lamp that comes up and over your sofa or next to your sofa or next to your chair. So that would be a great way to layer the lighting without everything matchy.
Right. But then also if you had a standing lamp, it could double as your task lighting.
Yeah, that's true too. And then if you have, say, bookcases in that room, like we have these cute little bookcases here, you could put a lamp, like a small accent lamp on your bookcase. Let's see, what else? If you're in your dining room, other than your chandelier over your table, you could also put a lamp on your sideboard, or if you have a console table in there you can add, your decorative things on that as well. You can also use it as a buffet if you don't have a buffet, but you could do buffet lamps, which are very tall and they give off pretty nice lighting as well. So, those are things that you could do in those two rooms.
Nice. And then you can have your accent lighting to like if you have a really great piece of art, I feel like a living room could be a great place for an accent light to just kind of highlight that, or an accent light to highlight a plant or a tree or something.
Yeah, I love that idea. I love the tree idea because that is just like a huge upgrade. It makes your room look more expensive, in my opinion. Very Architectural Digest.
Right.
And then like you don't have to have expensive artwork. I mean, you could make your own art and put up there. You could frame your kids' art and put it on the wall. And you can get little art lamps that do not even have to be wired in. You can hang them above. You just apply them to the wall, hang them over your piece of art, and it adds that extra little bit of ambiance to the room.
That is so cool. And there are so many creative lighting solutions now that aren't crazy expensive. So
yeah, it used to be if you had an art light over your piece of art, the art was super expensive, and that light, the art light was really expensive too, and it had to be hardwired in, so that piece of art always had to stay there unless you move the lamp or move the art and put a different piece there. But now I like things to be able to be moved around in a home. I don't like when everything has to stay right in its place. Right. So definitely the options of moving things around are really good.
And another cool accent light trend I've been seeing is lighting under furniture in places. Oh, yeah. So like under a TV console, for example. We have friends that actually got a console built with track lighting included in it.
Oh, in the piece? We have a bedroom group here that we may have several. We actually do have several beds that have lights in them. But this one, we just got it in. I can't remember the name of it. But the bookcase that goes with the bed has a light underneath the bottom. It's a tall shelf. It's like this tall, and the lamp is right underneath it. And you just touch it, and you can touch it a couple times, and it either gets is brighter or dimmer. Darker. Yeah, it's really great.
But that's awesome because it showcases the furniture piece and just like draws the eye further into the room, and it just adds so much more depth to a room to have some accent lighting like that.
Well, and two, if you're, if you're up in the middle of the night and you don't want to wake up, your partner, then that is a perfect thing to have is you just touch the side of that little bookcase.
And it's not a bright light.
Exactly. And it's low enough that it's not this big glaring light in the room, and you can find your way out of the room.
Yeah, that's so true.
I know. It's like lighting is such a key to design now.
Yeah, it's a part of design.
Yeah, so important.
It's a huge design element that I think we forget about. So like you brought up that bedroom set that we have, what kind of layered lighting would you recommend for a bedroom?
For a bedroom, it depends. So if you're buying a bed that has the case piece, the bookshelves built in, you may still want, because that light is low. Yeah. So you may still want a light for, reading, because you don't want to have the whole, the ceiling light on at night unless... It's just kind of ugly at night.
I think in your bedroom, it should be an oasis of relaxation. Yeah. And that is where the ugly light or the big light is the most offensive. So I think if you need extra light for reading, you should make sure to have a table lamp or there's like so many lamps that can be built into a bed frame that can offer task lighting. Yeah, we have that too. But if, say you are buying that bed that has the little bookshelves, so you could do a small little lamp on one of those, or you could do above the headboard, you could do like just lamps that attach to the wall, like a little sconce type light that plug in, so you don't have to hardwire it. Because a lot of people get nervous about, sconces. I like that, but I don't want to have to hire an electrician to come out, and then I've always got to have my bed right there. It's that seems like I'm designing a house and I am a homeowner, like a sconce, but. You don't need
that. And some of them don't even plug in now. Seriously.
They're just battery powered?
They're battery powered. And then you have the remote next to your bed. And you turn it on and off, and it's a done deal. So cool. Now there's no reason. You can have those things that you want and not have to spend a lot of money.
Okay.
So not that, we love our electricians, but not everybody can afford to, have someone come out and install those things all the time.
Or they're not allowed because they're renting,
Exactly.
And either way, you want your
holes
space
in your
to look
wall.
nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's awesome. And the other thing that I do want to mention, especially with like bedrooms, is your ambient lighting. If you can't change out that big light to like a chandelier or a different kind of light fixture, you don't want
then at least put it on a dimmer.
You could put it on a dimmer. But the other thing is, I feel like ambient light can be achieved through lamps, whether they're standing lamps or table lamps. You just have to make sure they're bright enough and tall enough and placed correctly to make sure that they fill the space that you need with light. Yeah. Because in the end, an ambient light is just something that evenly drapes light throughout the room.
Yeah.
As much
and
as
I think
possible.
too, like in your bedroom, if you are reading at night or, reading on your iPad or whatever it is, if your lamp isn't tall enough to shine the light down, it's going to be harder to see what you're trying to read. So if you love the lamp and you don't want to get rid of it, put it on like a little accent box or books. You can build your little books up and then put your lamp on top of it. And then it raises it up enough so that it's good for reading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's such a good idea. So let's go to the opposite side of the house. Well, I guess it depends on the home, but like in the kitchen, what is a good way to bring in light? Because I think especially for some people that they move into a house and there's, not an opportunity to change like the pendants or the recessed lighting or the ambient lighting in the kitchen, how would you approach lighting in the kitchen?
Without having to install something new?
Let's start there.
Okay.
Yeah, like for if you are working within the framework that you have, all you have is the big light.
And no recessed.
And no recessed.
Well, then I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a good question. And I bet there's a lot of people that's that situation. So I would look at what type of light bulb you have in the fixture. And so, start with that. If you've done that and you're still like, what do we do? I would go and add the sconces on the walls, and you don't have to do the hardwire like we talked about. You could do those from Amazon, look them up. You can also do battery powered light bulbs. So you could do like a little lamp on your countertop. That would be great. You could even do under cabinet lighting, and you could install that yourself. That would be really easy to do.
Yeah.
If your cabinets don't go all the way to the ceiling, you could also do just like a little rope light in that. And
again, they could be battery powered.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then that would give a little glow up to the ceiling.
Yeah.
And that would be a nice thing to do as well.
And the other thing to consider is that whatever the paint or wallpaper is in a room, that will affect the lighting, and the lighting will affect how that paint or wallpaper looks. So if you have an all white kitchen and you have the big light, it can be abrasive.
Yeah.
So even something as simple as adding some wallpaper in could really warm up and be like a great conversation with the light that's currently in there.
It would give a little contrast.
Yeah.
For sure.
I think we actually have an example how different tones of light affect different. So like a piece will look different in different types of light. So I mean, that's something we run into all the time at a furniture company, is a piece of furniture will look different if it's in daylight versus, dim light or warm light, indoor with few windows versus indoor with a lot of natural light really changes the look of a piece in a room. So, I mean, there's an example from one of our vendors of just how this same bedspread can look so much different in different lighting settings. And it's black and white, the example that we're looking at. So the color isn't as obviously changed except for in the cool light because it almost looks blue. But especially if you have colored pieces of furniture, they can really look different depending on what kind of setting you're in.
Yeah, and the lighting will bounce off of the wall paint. So that would definitely affect how things look in your room.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I like the idea of track lighting or pendant lighting in a kitchen. I think like those can be really tastefully done for accent lighting. So if you do have the ability to design your kitchen or add more lights to your kitchen, I think that can actually be a really fun room to coordinate lighting in. So I remember one of my old houses had some great pendant lights, and that is like pendant lights over an island. A kitchen island can be a great place to prep things and have some really good task lighting.
Well, and it adds another visual layered interest to the space to have pendant lights. And the other thing I've seen lately with pendant lights over an island is to take them and move them off to the side. So it's still over the island, but they're not like perfectly centered.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then you could even do like, say you're doing 3. I mean, you could do 2, but say you're doing 3. You could hang them at different heights off to the side.
Cool.
So you're still going to get plenty of light over your island, but it creates this artistic approach to your lighting layout in your kitchen. For sure. Yeah.
And they can be such a design focal point too in that room. They can like define the style of that room very easily.
It used to be that, pendants over your island were just so utilitarian. You know, it was just, this is what it's for. It's so you can see over your island. And now it's, well, we want to see, but we also want it to look really interesting too.
To look pretty.
So it doesn't have to be perfectly aligned.
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of a cool idea,
Yeah.
an upgrade. And then in your bathroom, like laundry rooms, I think a lot of the time ambient lighting is used as the task lighting here. So we're really relying on track lighting above vanity mirrors or, you know, wherever it may be in your laundry room to provide the whole light for the whole room.
Yeah. Well, in your bathroom, I mean, a lot of times they have the lights over top of your mirror. Well, now those mirrors can come down. You can put an accent mirror up and then do your pin or your sconces on either side of your mirror. And that looks really good too.
And you can do some really nice, like, lighting above the shower area too, if that's really separate from your vanity area, whether it's like a recessed can light, or you can even get a little bit more design focused, I'd imagine as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You could do, you know, you were talking about the cabinets that have the lights in it. Like you could do the same thing with your vanity, is put like the rope light underneath, so it just gives it a little glow down to the floor.
That's a really cool idea.
Yeah, especially
that's very
at night.
Contemporary.
Yeah.
I like that because it really like says this is a design piece to focus on. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like that's all really good tips that we have for lighting. And the other general for any room note I would say is, if it's daytime, just make sure you're finding lights that complement daytime and not block it out, and let the daylight in.
Let the daylight in, for sure.
Let the light of day in, and don't let the indoor ugly light take over your life, because it may be why you're not in a good mood.
I agree with that, for sure. No more ugly light.
Yeah, no more. No more. So,
well, I hope we've encouraged, you know, our listeners to check out their lighting in their house and make necessary changes. That will help them have more beautiful home.
Exactly. So, to leave you with, the most important thing to pay attention to on a light bulb box, let's look at a couple light bulb boxes in the store just so we can be there with people, is this little label that almost looks like a nutrition label.
What's a nutrition label for your eyeballs?
It is.
Yeah.
And it's usually on the back or the side of the box. This example, or an example that I saw at the hardware store, is a 40-watt bulb, so it's dimmer. And it's just, you know, a little bit more of a utility light, probably meant to be in a ceiling fixture with other light bulbs. But you want to pay attention to the lumens. So that's how bright it is. That one's 450. So it's not terribly bright. It's more dim. And then this is another bulb. There's just so much information on packages these days, and it's really hard to know what to focus on. But again, that lighting, fact sheet is important, and just paying attention to the warmness in Kelvins and the brightness in lumens is all are the
really
two main things that you need to pay attention to. So if we're going to leave you with anything, that's what it is.
Yeah. And if you get in there and you forget everything we say, ask the sales associate, because they're going to know and they'll be able to help you with your lighting needs for sure.
Or refer back to the infographics we have on our blog.
That's true.
Yeah. Always a good thing. The blog's always there for you, and we'll link that in the show notes. Comment wherever you are watching this to let us know your lighting questions, and
send us pictures too.
Yeah, we love that. We're pretty interactive with our comments. So,
or if you have questions and you're like, what do I do here in this room with this fixture? We can help with that.
Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.